Hi everyone, hello and welcome to our new webinar dedicated to Rise with SAP. We're really happy to welcome you today for these presentations. We are really lucky. We've got two amazing speakers for you today, 1 hour with them. Ask all your questions. We've got Tamas, our guru on the subject. Hello, Tamas. And we've got Alex, our CCO. Hello, Alex. Thank you for being here and sharing your expertise with our participants. They will give you a few words about their past, why they're here in a few minutes. My name is Pierre Chevron. I will be the moderator with Alice. Hello, Alice. Thank you for joining. To make you enjoy this presentation the most, I will just give you a few tips to enjoy this webinar. First, please use Google Chrome. If this is not the case, go out of the room, choose Google Chrome and come back. Why? You will enjoy the most the video and the sounds, all right? Second, we prepared to you a small survey, so you can see on the top right of your screen, chat, polls. Please answer, take 30 seconds to answer this survey. It will help us to improve the quality of webinars, maybe to define the next subject, but also we will take some time at the end of these presentations to analyze your answers. So please take those few seconds to do so. Last but not least, you understand that this webinar is made for you, dear participants. So concretely, use the chat. This is the best way to interact, ask your questions to Tamas and Alex. So chat is top right of your screen. Say hello if it works well, just to make me sure that you see well how to interact or to ask your questions. Top right of the chat, just say hello, so that you hear me well. Yes, super. I see that Hannah answered. Perfect. Thank you, Marcus. Okay, seems that it works well. So 45 minutes presentations, Q&A session right after that. Tamas, I give you the floor. I wish you a nice presentations and see you for the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Pierre. So this webinar is about Rise with SAP. And this is something SAP announced at the beginning of this year. And since that, there is a lot of discussion about it on the market. We see it at our customers. There are many questions. What is it? Is it really new? Is it what is in it? How does it really change the options we have? Is there a new option really there, or it's just a packaging? So today we will answer all these questions. But before we get started, let us introduce ourselves. So I'm the one on the left, Tomáš Cirtes. I have 23 years experience in SAP, always focusing on what is new and what is the next step for the customer. So that's also my role at SOA People. And I must say, in that context, S/4HANA is the #1 topic for me. No? That's the biggest change. That's the biggest innovation in the life of our customers these years. Now, besides that, I'm an SAP mentor, so I'm very closely working together with SAP, giving them feedback on the roadmap and strategy. And I'm also quite active in the Dutch market in the Dutch SAP user group, the VNSG, where I have been leading the area of user experience now for a few years. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Alex Bovensen. I've been active in the SAP market for 22 years now. I'm originally an SAP logistics implementation consultant, so I did many projects in the past myself in various roles. And at the moment, within the group, I'm a part of the executive board. I'm responsible in the end that we deliver our projects in time and in quality with our people. And involved in many of the projects that we currently run, because like these projects, they are transformations of your company, and a transformation is a change management part of the deal. And I'm always heavily involved in these things to assist our customers and guide them. And therefore, today I will share some of my experiences and the things that I come across in my day-to-day work. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm very happy that you all joined. Let's make this a nice and informational session.
All right. So the agenda we prepared for you, we will start with an introduction about how we see the move to SAP S/4HANA, and generally what are the trends. Then we will talk about what is RISE. No, let's start from the beginning. What is really RISE? And then we unpack it without all the hype, just what is real. And then we will talk about the options you have now, thanks to RISE, and how these options evolve, and what is here to stay, and what are the pros and cons of the different options. And then finally, I will talk about our Ready to Smart Migrate approach. So how do we, as SOA people, can help you on this journey? And of course, we have a Q&A at the end. Now, Pierre already explained, you can ask your questions anytime, and maybe we will react on the way, or maybe we leave it to the end, but for sure, in this webinar, we will also have enough time left for Q&A. So, Alex, I think you will start with the introduction. So,
yeah.
Please.
The RISE program, indeed. Cloud computing values. I think everybody is aware of the fact that cloud computing is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year now. And everybody, I think, recognizes the advantages that are in there. Of course, the hardware and software scalability. It's easier for customers like you and to ramp up in IT security, because it's part of a big platform. It's easier to keep security at all levels nice and safe. Logically, very strong force behind it is to reduce the total cost of ownership, because you're not the owner anymore of the hardware. And last but not least, it makes you able to innovate quicker, because you're more adaptable with a platform in the cloud. And therefore, it's of high value to customers to make this step towards the cloud. Yeah. Then why RISE with SAP? Because SAP launched this very nice program, and basically, if you go to the next one, Thomas, you have to start with the business goals first. What you often saw in the past, and perhaps you would recognize this, is that sometimes the argumentation behind the step towards a new release of SAP or going to S4 in the cloud is the fact that the end of life cycle of maintenance would start. But to us, it's a very simple question that you have to start with the business goals first. What do you like to improve and achieve with your new SAP landscape and solution? And that's one of the first steps you take. And what you often see, you need to be more adaptive to market demands. You want to be able to quickly respond to changing market demands, and that is made possible. At the same time, of course, you have your customers to deal with, and you want to streamline the way that you interact with your customers. And therefore, this is also very nice. Total cost of ownership, like I mentioned before, it will go down because it will take less time and it will be cheaper to handle. RISE program is meant by SAP to involve their partners closely in helping customers to easily move and transform to the cloud with S4. And in the end, it all evolves around the intelligent ERP adoption. In the past, ERP was meant as your enterprise resource planning system, simply to automate your processes. And currently, it's the next step in using it intelligently, so getting the best out of the data that's in there and make decisions based on that. And that's a very, very nice thing to see. And we've been very busy with this already for many years and explaining customers that it's much more than just an ERP system. It's your way to really strategically operate your business.
All right, thanks, Alex. I think that's a nice way to set the scene. And now let's look into RISE in a very pragmatic way. So it is, of course, a journey. No, I mean, it's not something you do from one day to another day. SAP would like to help you to go to this vision, which Alex just explained. Important is that there are different ways to start. You can start from your existing system. You can keep your existing system and move to the cloud. You can move to S4HANA first. Even if you are already on S4HANA, you can take that S4HANA system to the cloud. So there are different points of departures, as we call them. And then in the RISE package, there are multiple components which will help you to go from A to B. Maybe the first one to start with logically is there's some business process intelligence components there. So the idea is that you can analyze your current system from a business performance point of view, from a process improvement point of view, and then some tools from SAP can point out the benefits, and those benefits help you to actually build a business case and really decide on going for S4HANA. Then there are some tools and services because you want to do some checks. You want to check your system. You want to check your custom code. You want to check if your system is actually ready to be for the migration. And then, of course, you need some tools which help you on the migration itself. I will mention them in more detail in the next slide. Then question is, okay, what will be the infrastructure you use? And there is something really new in this RISE offering, that RISE itself is offered by SAP, but the underlying infrastructure can be from the hyperscalers. So here we are talking about Amazon, AWS, Microsoft, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform. Let's say here in Europe, these are the three main ones. Or still, of course, the SAP data center as the fourth option is still possible. So you, as a customer, you let's say you purchase RISE from SAP, you get the service from SAP, but the underlying infrastructure provider can be a hyperscaler, which of course has some good benefits because these hyperscalers are the best at running scalable infrastructures. Then, okay, of course, in the end, it's nice to have tools and infrastructure, but the main thing is still S4HANA. And that comes in two flavors in RISE. Comes in a public and in a private flavor. So I will talk about that later, and we will, of course, compare these options as I mentioned. But RISE itself is more than just S4HANA. It also contains the business technology platform. If you don't know what it is, it's something which used to be called the SAP Cloud Platform. And again, I will mention a little bit more about later. And it also contains some starter packages for what SAP calls the business network. So the three networks, and I will explain that. So RISE, you see, it's kind of a big package, no? It contains a lot of things. It contains not only S4HANA, but also some additional technologies, additional networks, and all the tools and services you need to get there from your current point of starting point. So let's go deeper. In the middle is S4, no doubt. But then there is this business process intelligence, and I mentioned, and there are few things there. There is this process discovery. Some people may know it from before, business scenario recommendation and spotlight. No? Those are still there as process discovery. But there is a new component, Signavio, which is a company SAP purchased. I mean, they closed the deal just a few weeks ago. They will announce the concrete roadmap probably at Sapphire, so in a few weeks from now. But yeah, that of course, this whole Signavio acquisition makes this offering even stronger. The current tools are good, but Signavio will make it even much better. In terms of tools and services, there is this Readiness Check, with a lot of companies heard of it or used it. So that's a tool from SAP which checks if your system is actually ready to be migrated to S4HANA, or you have maybe some tasks to do before you can start the migration. There is a custom code migration app, which is there to check your custom code. So to tell if your custom code is ready, or maybe some of it has to be adjusted. It's typically the case that you need some adjustment, and then this tool also points you some directional technical information of how to convert that custom code. So these 2 points are very important. Everybody does them. It doesn't make any sense to skip them. It's just really a common sense to use them. Learning Hub is also part of RISE. I must say it requires an additional license, but of course the idea that if you start to move your organization to S4, and Alex talked about the significance of change management, now part of it is actually to learn how the new system works. Business Technology Platform, I mentioned like what SAP Cloud Platform used to be, and it has basically 2 main parts, the extension suite and the integration suite, where the extension suite is about creating additional custom build functionality, probably on top of the standard in S4. So maybe you need some additional Fiori screens, which you want to build yourself. You want to add some mobile apps. You want to have a portal. All these things which are specific to your business, and you need that. And the integration suite is, of course, to integrate the SAP system with other systems. Then the business network, I mentioned there are 3 networks in scope, the Ariba network, the asset intelligence network, and the logistics business network. So I will walk through them one by one. So the business intelligence, what is in this package, it's to discover process improvements and automation opportunities. It's to understand where the bottlenecks are currently and what is the root cause and how can you improve your processes. Then the system itself makes recommendations, how you can overcome these bottlenecks and what are the improvements you can do. As you can imagine, the improvements are either provided by S/4HANA or by the business technology platform or by the business networks, which are we just mentioned. And then, of course, you can monitor this so that you see that the performance gain has been really realized. This is just a screenshot. I mean, I mentioned multiple systems, of course, many screens, but just to want to get an idea, this is, by the way, from Spotlight, one of the tools here, where you see performance of your processes, in this case, top performance in sales, and then you can drill down and then get very concrete process recommendations. In tools and services, 3 main ones. As I mentioned, Readiness Check, very important to use custom code, very highly recommended. Learning Hub, good idea as an optional item. And here again, I just give one impression about the Readiness Check, which analyzes the simplification item list. SAP has this gigantic documentation of more than 1,000 pages of what is the delta, basically, between ECC and S/4HANA. Now, reading that and studying that, it's a very, very hard job. So it's easier to run this tool. And this tool does the checks and does the impact analysis. So that's the main thing here. But also technical compatibility, add-ons, and so on are made. BW extractors and so on are covered here. So business technology platform, it has 4 pillars. One is everything regarding database and database management system. So of course that has a lot to do with HANA, obviously, no surprise. And it's about how you store your data, how you manage the data. The second aspect is analytics. If you have data, of course, you want to do analysis of the data. Here, obviously, the flagship product is SAP Analytics Cloud. Then the third capability of the business technology platform is about app development and integration. So I mentioned Fiori, mobile, portals, IoT, machine learning, robotic, many things here. And the intelligent technology specifically, so artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, Internet of Things, and so on. So this is a platform with many services, and what you get is some credits, specifically called the Cloud Platform Enterprise Agreement credits. You get some credits, and for the credits, you can use any of these services. And I must say, it's like a starter package that you get. No? So you cannot realize very big things from the credits you get, but you do get enough credits to get started. So you can start with RPA, you can start with Fiori, you can start with the portals. You have, let's say, enough credits to get started. But as you will grow, you probably will need to purchase some additional credits. But the good thing that you get these credits and the system is already available, so you are ready to start with this. Actually, it's similar with the business networks. There also the benefit that it's available immediately part of the offering. So there is the Ariba supplier network, which of course, as the name already says, it helps you to do some collaboration with your suppliers. Ariba network is something big, and not every part of it is included in the RISE. What you get is some documents. I will show it right now. Logistics business network is your collaboration with your freight partners. It's with track and trace. It's with material tracking. So all functionality to work together with your partners in the logistic supply chain. And the third one is about assets, so equipment. Of course, it's only if you have those. Not everybody has this. If you are a professional services company, then maybe it's not so relevant for you. But if you do have assets, then the idea is that you can maintain these assets in a central repository, and all the different partners who work with you, so maybe they do maintenance, maybe they do other services, they can access this central repository and work on this, what we call like a digital twins. And these three together are what we call the business network. And as I mentioned, some is included in the RISE. So RISE has one fixed price. You pay per user, actually. So very simple model. And in that package, all these things are included. Of course, within a certain scope. You cannot imagine that it's all unlimited. And the nice thing is that these components are already provisioned when you start to use the system. So you don't have to worry about the integration of these components, which, to be honest, can be a difficult task. Your S4 comes integrated to these networks. Your S4 comes connected to the business technology platform, and you can start using any part. And if you need more, then more documents or more partners, more connections, then of course you pay extra and you get access to them. All right. So with that, I explain what RISE is. So just to sum it up again, because I know that there are always a lot of questions about this. So it's basically a new package of some of the existing components, but there are some new things included also. I think Signavio is obviously a new thing, which SAP just acquired. I think the private edition is a new thing. I will talk a lot more about that in the next chapter. And of course, it's interesting that there is one offering from SAP covering all. It's technically prepared. It's one price based on user, of course, subscription based, and it's based on hyperscaler infrastructure. So that makes it really new. Now,
Thank you, Thomas. May I thank you? Maybe a little pause. I have got a question from Anna in the chat, so maybe the good moments before the transition.
yes, very good.
Anna asks if Rise Now makes brownfield to the cloud possible. Is this now the recommended approach? How do you feel with that, and what could we answer to Anna?
Very, very good question. So this is indeed one of the benefits of RISE, and specifically the private cloud edition, which I will introduce in the next chapter. In the private cloud edition, it is possible to do a brownfield conversion. So this is the first time ever, basically, that as a customer, you can go to the cloud and you don't have to start from scratch, meaning greenfield, but you can do a full technical conversion.
So this is actually indeed a giant leap forward in comparison to the past. So this was one of the things that a lot of people were waiting for, and now this is possible. Yeah.
Indeed.
Allez, super. Hannah, I hope that it answers your questions, and do not hesitate. As you see, we are more than happy to answer your questions. Thomas and Alex are here for you, so jump on this opportunity. I give you the floor again, Thomas. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So let's look at the options now we have from RISE. But before we go to the options, let's talk about how customers see it. And then here we listed some of our customers. Of course, you see on the top that the numbers are getting quite impressive from SAP. So as customers are moving to S4HANA, and the value is quite clear. So of course, I have here some general points which we collected from our projects, but I think let's make it more concrete. We can talk about greenfield and brownfield projects. We have done all kinds of projects. And Alex, I know that you were very involved in one of our nice greenfield projects at Van Leeuwen. So I think, instead of these generic points, maybe you can tell your personal stories.
Yeah, because Van Leeuwen indeed is a very nice example of a very high-valued customers of ours that a few years ago embarked on a journey going to S4HANA. And they were in a situation that we see quite often at other customers as well. They have an SAP solution running in ECC and highly customized, but also a lot of developments in it. So really adjusted. And it made them less able to adapt to new customer demands. So they were facing quite some challenges if they wanted to run a new line of business or they want to add customers to that solution, that it took them a lot of time. So the TCO of their landscape was quite high. And therefore, they decided to make the move to S4HANA. And I keep in touch very often with the CIO of Van Leeuwen. And I ask him, what did this change bring you? And basically, the thing that he said is, it's a lot easier for us, first of all, to start new types of business and to incorporate new customers. We have gotten rid of a great amount of developments that we had in the past, and nowadays we run it on standard. And last but not least, and that's the real interesting one, is embedded analytics. If you go to S4, there is tremendous opportunity in standard reports that SAP provides you on the various business process areas, on the finance, on the logistics, and they really use that a lot to constantly keep tweaking and improving running their business. And therefore, what he said, we came from a classic environment, and now we are in an intelligent enterprise. We really have the feeling that we're using it to the potential it has. So that's what they did. They built a new template in S4. They're ready for the future, and they're continuously adding other companies to it. That's what they're on to at the moment. So it was very nice to see. And they were one of the early adopters, and it's working out quite nice.
Yeah, indeed. So that's indeed a nice one. And then now, in contrast to that, because Van Leeuwen is quite a larger company with, as you said, the complexer setup. On the other hand, we have done a project just end of last year at Galère. It's a smaller organization, but they also heavily depend on their SAP system. It plays a central role, and they are on a big business transformation. And still, based on our advice, they decided to do a brownfield approach because they really wanted to manage the timeline and the risk. They want to get benefits from S/4HANA gradually. So the initial migration was very short, only 3 months. And then now we are evolving the system and adding more features. And for them, the main benefit was that it was a very managed, short time frame to get to S4. Now they are in this platform. They have really ambitious plans for the future, and they want this platform to be supporting their ideas. So they have big plans, but they wanted to get there in a very controlled way. So that's why they chose for this brownfield approach. And the benefits are also actually similar in that sense from Van Leeuwen, that they really enjoy the process improvements, the speed, the insight they can get thanks to embedded analytics. Okay, so then let's do indeed this comparison which I mentioned. So by the way, this whole thing is available on a website, so I will not mention now each single word on the slides because I would advise you to find it on our website, and I hope that Pierre or Alice will even give you the link so you can find it easily. But okay, the 6 options which are mentioned here. So on the left, RISE with SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So that's the full public cloud. If you were familiar, it used to be called Essentials, but now with RISE it has, of course, the RISE name. It's a public cloud offering with some specific focus on some industries like professional services, component manufacturing, and so on. It's strong in finance and few basic things, and it's not as complete as an on-premise S4 system. No, it's more a targeted system. Then the second one, the extended edition, that is something which kind of like an older version where SAP has no big plans. So I personally think that at some point they will really stop with this edition. At the moment, it's for companies which really need which have some specific regulatory requirements. So I would say for most of you, it's probably not interesting. The third one is very interesting because that's the private edition. That's the one which explained that you can convert to it. You don't have to start greenfield, and it has a full scope. So it is as complete as it can get in terms of S/4HANA. The fourth option is something we see very popular. It's a good offering in all aspects, technically and commercially. Many of our customers actually choose for this. It's a hosting which we do together with the T-Systems. Number 5 is it's still an option, getting, I would say, each time less exciting, but it is an option for any customers to simply do an installation of S/4HANA, but instead of doing it on premise, you do it on a hyperscaler infrastructure. So what you get, you just get the infrastructure from a hyperscaler, but from that moment it works just like an on-premise system, just simply in the cloud. So I mentioned that you have hyperscalers also in the RISE. The difference is that if you go with the RISE, then you buy from SAP, and SAP provides you the service, and the hyperscalers are basically like subcontractors. And if you go with this option, so the fifth one, then you do business directly with the hyperscaler, and all the responsibility is yours to manage it. And of course, the last one, I think everybody understands on-premise. So let's compare them. From a functional point of view, I mentioned the first one is limited. Also, the possibilities you have to extend them and to integrate, there are limitations there. I don't mean it bad, no? If it has the requirements, let's say if it meets your requirement, it's a very good system. There are a lot of benefits to be on a full public cloud system, but we have to check, no, if your requirements can be met. The second one I will not talk that much about because I mentioned that I expect that it will not last long. The third option, the private cloud edition, I mentioned it's full scope, so that's very strong, and all kinds of add-ons and modifications are allowed. So there is really good flexibility there. No, that was missing in the past. In the past, when customers moved to a cloud solution from SAP, it meant too many limitations, and that's kind of, I think there is this perception that if you move to the cloud, then you give up a lot of your independence or flexibility. But now with this private edition, you keep a lot. I would say everything is possible, which is within the normal logical limits. And yeah, if you are on a hosted environment or directly on your own favorite hyperscaler, then of course you can do anything you want. Nobody limits you there. Implementation approach. So in a public cloud, only greenfield. There is no conversion possible. With the private edition, you can do everything. You can do greenfield or brownfield, or other options are also coming soon. If you are on the right side, no, hosted or hyperscalers, then everything possible because there is no one to stop you. Cloud, what is it? What does it mean? So depending on your cloud strategy, you can prefer one to the other. If you really want, if you have the strategy to work in a full public cloud, then it's only the first one. RISE basically means like a single tenant, but it's still provided as a cloud solution. No, you still buy a subscription, which includes everything, even the hyperscaler infrastructure. On the right side, it's more custom. So in our case, in T-Systems, you either use a perpetual model, or we can also provide you a subscription. And if you are on a hyperscaler, so the fifth one, then basically you get a public cloud subscription for the infrastructure, and you need an on-premise license from SAP. No? And then with that on-premise license, you install on the private cloud infrastructure. In terms of innovation cycle, there are big differences. So in the public cloud, RISE with S/4HANA Cloud, at the moment there are 4 updates per year. They will change that to 2. They realize that customers find 4 upgrades maybe too much, because obviously you have to do testing and the organizational change management. So 4 is too heavy at the moment. It will be 2, but they will have a framework when they can release smaller, more content-based, configuration-based enhancement more continuously. And then as a customer, you will be able to decide if you take them or not. The 2 upgrades will be mandatory. No, there you cannot decide, that you have to take. But the small ones, you can decide if you want them or not. In the private edition, you have a lot of flexibility. You have to do upgrade at least once in 5 years, and that's just normal because an S/4HANA system offers maintenance for 5 years. That doesn't sound long. So that means that if you want more maintenance, then you just have to quickly update your S/4HANA system to the next level. So any level you have, you can keep it maximum for 5 years, and then within the 5 years you have to upgrade at least once, and that's possible in the private edition. You are not pushed to do more than that. And well, actually, that's the same in other options. You have to do at least one in 5 years. Infrastructure, I think you already understand that. So it's SAP, of course, or hyperscaler, or if you go with a hosted solution, then it's a T system, which is they are number one in hosting SAP systems in the world. And the pricing, if you go with RISE, it's a subscription model, what SAP calls FUE, so user equivalence, where you have some heavy users who have a bigger weight than some light users, and then basically you with a formula you calculate how many subscriptions you need, you pay that, and that includes the whole package. And in terms of SLA, that's one of the things about RISE, that this whole package, including different components from SAP and even from hyperscalers, is provided as one service, one SLA, one contract, one party to deal with that case, SAP, and of course the partner. Because if you take the private edition, which I think is of course the most interesting one for most customers, SAP provides the more technical services as part of the price and the SLA, but the more functional application management services are still done by partners like us. So a lot is covered by SAP, but still there is a big remaining part which is done by partners. But you don't do business directly with the hyperscaler in the RISE package. All right, so after this detailed comparison, let me talk more about our Smart Migrate. So what do we offer as SOA People? Well, we have these 4 pillars of our business, and I think many of you already know that. So from beginning to end, full support of your life cycle. Specific about S/4HANA, we offer workshops, to discover how your business can benefit from all these, or these workshops with the management, with the business to design your roadmap. Performer is something unique we have. It's a tool to measure your performance, make recommendations, build a business case. And you do that iteratively, so you can track how your business is improving, how you realize more value from SAP because of S/4HANA or even without S/4HANA. That's a big topic. We have actually various webinars. Maybe we can also share that, which go deep in that. Then we have a very simple 5-step approach. So how, as a company, from your current point of view, go to your target S/4HANA system, and what are the 5 steps to take. All our customers go through these 5 steps, and we can now say that it's very proven. We have various qualified packages to help you, whether you will choose greenfield or brownfield, whether you will go in one or the other industry. We have a lot of things prepared and qualified by SAP. Then we have also something very, very interesting. This is unique. We are the only partner who has that in cooperation with another company. We can do an automated conversion. So that makes the whole conversion a lot more affordable and a lot more manageable in terms of risk. This is, by the way, what we also did at Galère. So this is very interesting, and it's compatible with RISE. And then finally, from an organizational point of view, we have what we call a factory, so a dedicated team who is skilled and experienced in doing these S4 projects based on our methodology, based on our processes and templates and so on. So that greatly provides scale and quality to our projects.
Yes,
And
Thomas,
this is,
sorry. If I can add to that, if you remember one of the first slides when I introduced that, put the goal, the reasoning behind you want to move to S4 in front of you. That's on the left side. That is it's basically our whole approach is to really do the thorough analysis on what it will bring you in which area, and that you can really carefully consider, okay, we're moving to S4 and into the cloud because of this and this reason. And then, of course, the next thing comes with a solid plan and solid execution, as you see on the right side, as Thomas stated. But it's a fundamental thing in our approach, which I would like to stress. Yeah.
So we believe with this we are quite complete. No, we can help you to make the decision, measure and identify the value, guide you through the process. We have different packages, so to make it more concrete for you, what is the effort and what's the approach. We have the teams behind that, and then we can even do automated if you would like to do a conversion. So in the end, we know that about S4HANA, everybody has a lot of questions, and mostly it can be grouped in these 4 categories, like why would we go to S4HANA? I talk to a lot of companies which we still don't have that answer, and then then we advise them to look into the value management, as I explained. The what is always interesting, like, okay, how will it impact your current landscape, and which scope you will have in that system, which Fiori apps you will use, how you will go, can you do a conversion, do you really need to do greenfield, which one you prefer, and of course the big question is when, because you have many other priorities and many options. So yeah, there are many questions there, and we believe that with these approaches which I presented, with the 5-step approach, we cover all these questions in a very pragmatic way. So we spend just enough effort to give you the answer without really making a whole big scientific lengthy investigation. And okay, just to highlight again, because it is a game changer, this automated conversion tool which we have, which can do the move to S4, a lot more manageable, less failure, less chances to make mistakes, because of course it's automated. And what is, I think, a highlight is that can do conversion of the ABAP code almost completely. So 95 to 98% of the code can be automatically converted, and then the remaining has to be done by the ABAP developers. But this is a big thing because everybody has custom code. Everybody probably has too much custom code.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Fiori activation can be also done, which is always an interesting topic in projects. I think, Alex, you also could tell a lot of stories about that.
Yeah.
So to sum up, Alex, would you like to take this part?
Yeah. So, as referring back when we started, it's really about making the journey towards an intelligent enterprise. It's much more than just running your business. Use the data to make intelligent decisions to constantly improve it. And you want to accelerate the migration to the cloud. Everybody wants to go to the cloud. In the past, you did not have the very nice options that you currently have there, with more flexibility on your SAP solution. So that's also a very nice momentum in that sense. And in the end, of course, you want to leverage on all these cloud benefits. And of course, keep your past SAP investments, because what I really always, with customers, you have your current SAP environment and you really invested time and energy in that, in thinking about it, to shape it towards your needs. And therefore, you cannot simply let it go and move to the cloud to standard. You really have to look, okay, which parts will I take with me? Which parts can I move to standard SAP when I'm in the cloud? And that's a very nice thing that's possible currently to do. So definitely this RISE program brings tremendous opportunity in this sense. Yeah.
All right, and with that, we reach the end of our story, and then now, of course, we are open for questions. And I'm also very curious to look at the poll, what answers we got there.
Super. Thomas, Alex, thanks a lot for these nice presentations, full of nice informations. This is indeed the moment for Q&A. So dear participants, do not hesitate to ask your questions directly in the chat. I've got already a few for you, Thomas, before you analyze the answers of the survey.
Okay.
First one from Michael. Is your previous webinar you presented a webinar on Performer? This is what you said indeed. Does it work with RISE? I think that it's an important question because you was talking about game changer, some solutions that really help to make a successful journey to RISE. How does it work with Performer? What's the value?
Yeah, exactly. So actually, the two things are separate. RISE describe this big offering. So it's like your target destination, where you can run it in the public and a private, and then you can have the business networks around it and all with the technologies and all that. But it really doesn't say like, why would you even start on this journey, and what are the benefits you will get? And that's where Performer is unique. So Performer helps you in this decision making, to look at your business, your processes, compare it with the benchmark, industry benchmark, based on real data. So that's very important. That Performer is a fact-based platform. So it connects to your system, it uses your data, it's not some feedings and impressions and surveys, which some others do. It's based on real facts. And then you can identify the benefits you get, as I said, even in your current system, but of course, even more thanks to S4. And then once you move to S4, you continue measuring, you continue improving, because obviously not one step and then you are all done with the all benefits. So yeah, Performer is a nice complement, I would say, to the RISE offering. They can be used together.
Thanks, Thomas, for this answer. Michael, I hope that it is answered. Indeed, this is a question of value management. Indeed, continuous value management. I think that this is key, especially in a moment that we need to have a look on dispense and what costs your IT system. Always nice to have a good overview of the benefits you make for the system. We have a question for you also from Anna. Does RISE make the migrations to SAP S/4HANA less complex or faster? Any answer you'd like to share with us, Thomas or Alex?
Well, I mean, the fact that let's talk about the private cloud, because in the public cloud you have to have a greenfield approach. So actually, nothing changed in that aspect. It became part of this commercial package, but nothing changed there. When it comes to the private edition, which is new, then yeah, it is. The big news is that you can do a technical conversion, which is, we know that maybe 40% less than doing a greenfield on average. So if you can do a technical conversion, then yeah, probably it makes sense. I mean, there are different factors. There's a whole presentation. We have like 10 different factors to consider. But generally speaking, if conversion fits an organization, I would say it's a good news. And that is now possible with the private edition.
Thanks, Thomas. Question for you before you jump in the analysis of the survey. Lots of people did answer to the survey, so it's nice to have and to read that. Hans asked, does the automated conversion tool also convert info sets on queries?
Yeah. So it's a full conversion. it's the input is your ECC system and the output is your S4 system. You start with a completely working system and you end up with a completely working system. That's a general statement, so everything there. And of course, the definition of a technical conversion is that the functional scope stays almost the same. I'm not saying exactly the same, because it's not possible to keep it exactly the same. No, I mean, it's another system. It's not ECC, it's S4. And SAP, of course, has the simplification item list where they define the differences, and some transactions are simply not available. Some ECC transactions are simply not available in S4. For some certain things, you have to use Fiori. So for some things, you can use Fiori. So it cannot be 100% the same, but as much as possible, it will be kept as is. That's the definition of a technical conversion, but it takes everything what is needed. So custom code, all the things you mentioned, info set queries, data, everything, all data. That's also important. So in short, yes.
Thanks, Thomas. I believe that what's behind all of this is just to focus attention of the teams on really high-value task, I would say. Everything that could be automated in terms of conversions, transformations, could be made automatically. And so you focused all your teams, all your efforts about what really makes the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the point. So the easy, nothing easy, but let's say the less challenging, more repetitive tasks are automated, and then the valuable expertise of your team, which is always limited, of course, time, everybody busy, you can spend on the steps which really add value, how you can provide new functionality improvements to the business.
Sounds good. Maybe you can jump on the poll, sorry. So the survey, Thomas, we have 2 more minutes.
Pool will be fine too.
The pool, yeah. But indeed, there are some nice answers. I think that it will inspire you. And also, maybe if you have some comments, just let us know.
Yeah. So I see the first one. I see that 86% answered no, which means they hasn't analyzed the custom code. Well, I mean, it is important to do, because you can listen to these kind of webinars and presentations from us, from SAP, from anyone, and you will learn a lot. But in the end, the devil is in the detail. In the end, it's about your system, your data, your custom code. So understanding the impact of that is, I would say, it's very important, so that you can make a better planning, better decision.
So obviously we can act to help our participants indeed.
Yeah, definitely. Because this is usually a big question that customers always have. I think I have a lot, or what are we talking about? And this analysis is actually quite easy to do, and gives you, indeed, as Thomas says, it gives you quite some insights directly. Really, you have a feeling at least. So it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Any other comments, Thomas?
No, I would like to look at the second, because it's almost 12 o'clock. So I would like to look at the second question about the hyperscaler. Now, no surprise there, no? And that's exactly what I expected. And that means that RISE is interesting for these customers, no? Because if you go for the RISE, then you get the hyperscaler from SAP. And that's especially good if you don't have a hyperscaler yet, no? So, for 83%, it's a direct match. And the third question about opening in the cloud, that we see it. That's also very obvious. I mean, 95% is a very high answer what we got here. That's clearly a lessons learned. Everybody is interested nowadays to discuss cloud. Of course, understanding that cloud could mean 100 different things, no? And then you still have the choice to decide, are we going for a full public or a private or the other things we mentioned? But there are only very few companies who just say full no to all these options.
Allez, sounds great. Thanks a lot for that, Tamas. Maybe you can share the last slide with your informations, contacts, because I think that you, dear participant, understand that we are all here to help you meet your challenges and succeed in your journey to rise on S4HANA. So do not hesitate to get in contact with Alex, Tamas, myself, to ask your questions and to organize meetings with you to deep dive on this topic. Okay. Dear speakers, experts, thank you, Alex, thank you, Tamas, thank you, Alice, for this nice webinar. Dear participants, thank you for all these interactions, good questions, good answer to survey. Do not hesitate to send to your network and your colleagues the slides and the webinar replay that you will get in a few minutes. All right, and we wish you all a nice and wonderful afternoon. See you soon and have a good day.
Yes, see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.